I'd just like to welcome everybody to the very, very first meeting, the launch of Bradford Business Network, or BBS.
Good evening, everyone, at long last. Thank you for being so patient, and absolutely thank you for you coming here this evening. My name's Rudy Page, come from London. I've been working up here in Yorkshire for the last year with some of your business owners, and I must mention them, Mark, Mick and Randolph. It's been very important, this initiative. Because of the time, I'm not going to go into too much details, but in your pack, you've got a lot of the information around what the Bradford Business Network is all about. And today, and for the future, the work that we've been doing with business support with private sector businesses has been around intellectual capital. And what we mean by intellectual capital, that's about human capital, people, their knowledge, their skills, intellectual property, and there's a definition of intellectual property in the magazine, and relationship capital, your networks, your databases. And what we've tried to show, that these are key business assets, and if we utilize them by working together, it makes good business sense. And the model that we're using with the Bradford Business Network is what we call the sector club model. And with this model, you take 2 or 3 leading businesses in a particular sector or a community, and they actually forge the way for others to follow. They make the commitment, they put the investment in, and with this particular network, 75% of the effort comes from within the sector itself, from within the business itself. So today is a demonstration of that effort. And if you look at the magazine has been put together with many different skills, knowledge, and expertise. And again, I'd very much like to thank Randolph, Mick, and Mark for the effort that they've put in. And of course, Derek, who I know stayed up all night to make sure the magazine got here. And what's important with these types of networks, it's also about dispelling the myth that black businesses don't work together, because it really is not true. And we must recognise that in ourselves. Because if we don't recognise that in ourselves, then how are we going to expect other people to recognise that? And then not only that, with a network like this, it's not about also being exclusive. It's about working with other communities as well. Because one of the most important things in any economy is to make best use of all the knowledge, skills and abilities that is there, because that's how you're going to improve the way you do business and also improve your opportunities. So of course, when I say that as well, that also means that economies and communities have to utilise the skills of black business owners as well. So in other words, that we should be included with everybody else. Also, you'll see in the pack reference to a report. Over the last year, we ran a number of workshops in all 4 cities across Yorkshire region. And recently, myself and Mark went to Yorkshire Forward, and Alex McWhirter, the director, said the only network that they're going to recognise is the Bradford network, because the businesses had actually moved forward, got themselves together, and really was showing a practical way forward. And again, tonight is a demonstration of that, because at the end of the day, I deal with policy implementation, and what we always want to see is tangible actions, and you certainly have taken that leap forward. So there's lots of information in the brochures. And then one last thing before I hand over. A lot of the work also that we did as case studies was the London Joburg Initiative. And I'll just tell you a quick story about that. The London Joburg Initiative, we went there in 2003. A friend of mine, Patrick Berry, he used to own Choice FM in London, but they recently sold it to Capital Radio for about £15 million. We decided that it was important for us as business people to go to South Africa, see what the opportunities were, but not only that, to have some cultural understanding, going to Soweto, going to Joburg, as well as doing business there. And at the time, there was 40 business owners who said that they were going to come, all of them with enough money. Then when I went to see them all and said, well, can we now have your £1,500 to put down so we can all go? Only 8 of us went in the end. But the most important thing is that we did go. And we financed ourselves to go on the initial trip to fact find. And then once we'd put the whole thing in place, we then got support from the UK Trade and Investment Office. I was then able to get £550 grant for each of the businesses. And we had our own reception at the UK High Commission in Joburg. And they ran quite a lot of networking activity for the businesses. Now, since that trip, four of the other businesses, including myself, have been down to South Africa a number of times. And Joy Nichols, in fact, she runs. Joy Nichols, who runs a recruitment agency, is in fact opening up an office in South Africa next month, and hopefully we hear she's actually been put forward for a Queen's Award for Enterprise Promotion. So when you hear Joy Nichols Employment, so again, it can happen and we can do it, and so it's important that that's recognised. And this network, and the way it's been put together, it's BBN Yorkshire, in fact, it's the only network of its type, and I know of all the different networks that are around London and around the West Midlands, and this particular one, you're at the forefront. And most importantly as well, you'll be quite surprised, particularly I've noticed in the print area. In London, we don't have print businesses, black-owned print businesses, as large as the ones that are up here. So again, you should really be thinking about how you can target London. There's a lot of business down there. So in policy terms, you'll hear the term regional cohesion, and that's what it means. So again, I'm hoping over the next few months, particularly with West London, to see some Yorkshire-based businesses doing business in West London. So that's all from me for the moment. I'm now going to hand over to your prospective parliamentary candidates. First, Martin Singh.
Thank you for that kind welcome. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be brief because we've been talking all day, and that's what happens during a general election campaign, from morning, noon till night. But could I, first of all, congratulate everybody who's put the hard work in to set up this Afro-Caribbean-led initiative, Bradford Business Network, Yorkshire. It's absolutely vital that communities organise, businesses organise to further themselves, to support each other, and to work together, because that's the way a business community actually grows. And I do know that in Bradford especially, there's been no network supporting black businesses in terms of Afro-Caribbean businesses. There's Asian Trades Link, which is an excellent initiative in that sector, but there's been nothing in this particular sector. Well, this microphone might not be working, but I can say this, that Britain has been working under Labour, but it's working again now. So that's very, very important, and I do congratulate you, and congratulate Mick Burrows, an old friend of mine, who's the chairman of this organisation, and I'm sure he's put a great deal of effort, time, and possibly even money into this venture. I'd also like to congratulate Walter Walter, who I've known for many, many, many years as a businessman. And Walter, it's great to see you're respectable. Congratulations, Walter, and I hope this venture of yours is a great, great success. Finally, I'd just like to say this, that I think I can speak without a microphone. Otherwise, I won't be a politician. Finally, I'd just like to say this, that every country, without excluding Britain, depends for its employment, for jobs, for growth, for economic growth, on two essential things: the private sector and the public sector, sometimes and often working in partnership. They've both got to be working in partnership. But the private sector is the real engine for growth. And Bradford needs entrepreneurs from every sector of our communities, every part of our community, to be successful. Bradford's been down on its knees for a long time. It's now getting up again. It's now beginning to prosper. And it needs everybody. And this is why it gives me great pleasure, because I know that the input that Afro-Caribbean business is going to make to Bradford is going to be just as important as anybody else's business input. You're the ones who are going to create the jobs, create the wealth, and create the future for the generation to come. Congratulations. I wish you every success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marsha. Jerry Sutcliffe. I'm in a unique position this evening because I'm not an MP, as has been said. I'm a prospective parliamentary candidate, but I still remain the Minister for Employment Relations, Consumer Affairs and Competition Affairs, and that lasts until the day of the election. So I'm especially pleased to be here in perhaps an important role in employment terms. As Marsha has said, the key to our economy is going to be the growth in small to medium-sized companies. The creative industries are going to be vital to create the jobs of the future. And so I think it's important that at this launch we reflect on the work that's already been done by Afro-Caribbean businesses in Bradford. And Marsha's talked about Mick Burrows, and I've known Mick for many years in a variety of capacities in terms of a trade union official as well as a politician. And I know that he's a tremendous benefit to Bradford in what he's done, but also to Randolph, to Mark and to Walter for their thoughts and initiative in making sure this project gets off the ground. Because I know it's been a bit of a battle in terms of officialdom and bureaucracy, in terms of not getting the support that you perhaps need. And hopefully we can deal with that after the election in terms of the employment and development. But what is vital, as I say, is that small businesses grow, work with each other and network with each other. And if you do that, then the whole thing moves on at a pace. Bradford is going through tremendous change at the moment, as Marsha has said, but it's very much a positive change, and we want the Afro-Caribbean community to be part of that change. But the whole region, if you look at employment in Yorkshire now, more people in work than ever before. The economy is going well. I travel around the whole of Europe as the employment minister, dealing with the new employment states, and we're seeing the benefit to our economy and our communities. And I think what's important then is that all of us shouldn't be looking at our cultural heritage, that's important to us and we need to retain that, but look at the economic positives that can come from a vibrant economy. Now Bradford has that opportunity because of the mixed culture that we've got, that we can actually go out to London, London in the south of England, which is where the economy is going really well, but London and beyond, and we can grow and develop. It's about confidence. And this network, this Bradford Business Network, will give you that confidence. It's about having the ideas, and sometimes those ideas might fail. You might have a good idea, but it might not be able to develop it. But there shouldn't be any shame in that. It's about developing thoughts and ideas and having the confidence from it. And I know this organisation will do that. We'll give it our support, whatever happens after the general election. But it's great to be invited along to a successful event. Thanks for all the hard work that people have put in. And I know that it will grow from strength to strength. Thank you very much.
originally handed over the report to the Employment Minister. You all saw that, didn't you? That's the original report. I hope Labour will win, actually, because Paul Boateng will be the next UK High Commissioner to South Africa. And again, if you look in here, there's an article about him, and he recognises some of the work that we've been doing down in South Africa. We're hoping to do a trade mission in October for a week down to South Africa. They've actually got the African Leaders Forum on there, which is a big South African event, and Paul Boateng again has promised a lot of support for businesses coming down from London, and that's all businesses, but he has taken a particular interest in the work that we've been doing in South Africa. Right, next, I'd like to change a bit. We're going to talk about Mary Seacole. Now, Mary Seacole, this year is the bicentenary of Mary Seacole. And again, if you look in your brochure here, there's a complete biography of her life and works. I also work in the health sector. In fact, from tomorrow is the RCN Congress in Harrogate, and I'll be in Harrogate tomorrow. But in London, I'm the project manager for the main Mary Seacole bicentenary celebrations, which is being led by Guy's and St Thomas in partnership with Royal College of Nursing, London South Bank University, King's College London, Florence Nightingale Museum, and the Black Cultural Archives. And the project has 3 strategic themes: education and training, professional development, and historical perspectives. So there's a whole lot of activities interwoven that deliver on those 3 areas. And also we've got 35 students, nursing students, coming over from the Caribbean who've paid their own way to get here to celebrate the Mary Seacole bicentenary. And also what I think is important, and the irony of history, and also follows on something that Jerry Sutcliffe was just saying, is that Mary Seacole and the relationship between Mary Seacole and Florence Nightingale. Normally, all you ever hear is, oh, Florence Nightingale didn't want Mary Seacole to go to Crimea. But of course, Mary Seacole went to the Crimea anyway, because she had her objectives, she was determined, she was disciplined, and she got on with it. But most importantly, if you read the Mary Seacole's autobiography, you'll actually find that there were people in very influential places who helped Mary Seacole when she needed help. And that was due to her character and determinations. So that's really important that we also understand that. And as the Mary Seacole bicentenary celebrations get underway, in fact, the biggest supporter and in terms of bringing the legacy up to date, in fact now, is the Florence Nightingale Museum. And the director there is a guy called Alex Attiwell. So again, this article that's in here gives you one of the best rounded pictures of Mary Seacole. Is actually written by this guy, Alex Attiwell. Now, I always believe in mixing arts, culture, commerce, the delivery of learning together. And one of the interesting things in Mary Seacole's biography is a poem written by the British soldiers in the Crimea, which was published in the Punch magazine, I think in 1856. It's called A Stir for Seacole. And with that in mind, Mark told me about Trish Cook, and she sent me her biog, and I was so impressed with her work, I told the acting artistic, I didn't tell him, I requested to the acting artistic director that he should commission Trish to be one of the writers for the opening season of this new theatre when it's built, and it will open in September 2007. So I'm very glad as well. Trish, with her artistic talents, is going to give us a bit from the poem A Stir for Seacole. Thank you, Trish.
A Stir for Seacole.
Dame Seacole was a kindly old soul,
and a kindly old soul was she. You might call for your pot, you might call for your pipe, in her tent, on the coal so free.
A true performer. You know, you keep going regardless of what happens. You keep going, you don't stop. Right, there's gonna be a couple of speakers. Derek and Mike will be saying a few words, and very, very quickly. And so you've got 1.5 minutes each, cutting everybody down. So Mike first, then Derek.
Well, basically, good evening. My name is Michael Connolly. I'm the internet publisher of the first Black Interest magazine online. Tonight's theme is particularly appropriate because it's about networking, and the internet is an international network of computers. Basically, every one of us in this room tonight is potentially a network individual. But when we are gathered together like this, we become one, and it becomes very, very powerful. I did roughly have something in mind to talk about the internet and how it could help you and help us in our quest for business, growth, etc. online. But I'm only given 1 minute. So basically, it's there. Everyone should be involved in it in some way. You should have an internet site. We're available. We can get you online, etc., etc. That's basically. Thank you.
Thank you. Derek, very quickly.
Hello there, everybody. I'm sort of being put on the spot here, but certainly this whole network, it has been a network all along, because I mean, I didn't know Rudy until today. I've just met him, and I met Jerome only a few weeks ago, and we all just sort of like, in a sense, you know, put this magazine together. So it just shows that if we all sort of work together, we can actually, you know, produce the goods and show people that we can actually do the things that every other community and everybody else is doing. So when you go back and you set your business up, don't forget to, you know, promote, advertise in the magazine here. Thanks very much, sir.
And last year, the last time I was in the Caribbean, I hosted a 2-hour radio program called Caribbean First, where we linked together 5 radio stations in the Eastern Caribbean and linked it with a radio station called Radio Hoy in Curacao, so that we reached the Dutch-speaking Caribbean. So we had about an hour's program with the Minister of Technology talking about the use of technology and the link between Anglo-Dutch-speaking Caribbean and all the opportunities that arise from that. So again, there's so many opportunities in this world if we work together, utilize the knowledge from different people. So I think that's going to be about it for now, from me. I'm going to ask Mick Burrows to give the closing vote of thanks.
Right, I'm Michael Burrows, chair of this organisation, and first of all, I'd like to thank you all very much for coming tonight, and special thank you to a few people who, without their real hard work and help, this just wouldn't have took place. First of all, I'd like to thank Jerome James, top man. Jerome worked tirelessly to make sure this happens, but even bigger importance of the organisation is Jerome's wife. Now, she's worked double hard. Yvette, where are you, Yvette? Will everybody have a look at you? Yvette James. On behalf of all the rest of the committee and myself, thank you all very much for coming. Have a safe journey home and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
We return, right? When I get the bundle, so we'll probably do it in Europe. So this is like Europe. You open up, right, and then we have a meeting, me, you, and Mick, and we decide between us. Yeah. All right. Cheers. Hi, mate. Okay, this compensation there. I'm just working at the moment as well. So we're going to meet the great